I wanted to give a quick lesson on the present perfect verb tense. It's the verb tense that sounds like I have done something or this has happened. And I've found that a lot of English students have trouble with this verb tense because we use it a lot in English. And many other languages either don't have this verb tense or it's used in a different way. So when I'm teaching, I always try to concentrate on examples that show the use in context, and I have some of those here. When I'm teaching the present perfect tense, I always like to start with this question: have you had coffee today? The answers we might get are yes, I have, or no, I haven't. And I want to look closely at this sentence to understand a little better how the present perfect works, all right? I actually just want to look at this word, had. When we say had, are we using the past, present, or future? I had is the past, right? I know you already know that. But let's look at this word, today. Is that word in the past, present, or future? Today is the present. It's still happening, right? So, in this sentence, we're not going to use the present because one of the ideas is in the past. And we're not going to use the past because one of the ideas is in the present. And that's generally what the present perfect does, is it creates a connection between the past and the present. Here's another example of when we might use this. If I ask the question, where do you study? I study at British Culture. And then the question, when did you start? I started in 2001. Well, this first part, where do you study, is just in simple present. This part, when did you start, is simple past, right? We can connect these two sentences into just one if we want to use this present perfect I have. So we might say, I have studied at British Culture since 2010, right? And we can use the same model to ask, where do you work? When did you start? I have worked at IBM for 10 years. Or where do you live? When did you move there? Right? So just to revisit the strict grammar here, this present perfect tense is always when we have this has or have and the past participle. This past participle you're going to remember from when you were learning the verbs. Whenever we conjugate an English verb, we're going to have three versions, right? We have the present, the past, and the past participle. This was one of the main reasons you learned this gone past participle, was to use this verb tense. And I'm going to quickly erase this just to give you two more examples which are used even more often and tend to be more confusing for people. So, have you seen Star Wars? Have you been to Greece? Whenever we talk about our experience, we're going to use this verb tense as well. Have you seen that movie? Have you met John? Have you been to that country? The reason we use this verb tense, even though it might not be obvious, is that we're still creating a connection between the past and the present. When we ask, have you seen Star Wars? I'm asking if in your entire life, from the moment you were born in the past until now in the present, have you seen this movie? The reason "Did you see Star Wars" might sound awkward to a native speaker is because this past tense suggests to us that it happened once in a certain moment. When we're concentrating on the experience, have you seen Star Wars? We're going to use this verb tense because we're talking about any moment in the past up till the present. So what I would do at this point is start asking these kinds of questions to the class. Have you been to Greece? Have you ever dyed your hair? Have you ever owned an instrument? Things like this, and I would want to turn it into a conversation using this verb tense and seeing where we would actually use it. So that's my very quick lesson on the present perfect. Thanks so much for watching.